everyone is talking about it.
Yeah.
Retailers are talking about it. Debenhams in the UK is putting in fitness centres. Harrods is just putting in a big wellness centre or a wellness precinct. Saks in New York put in the Wellery for a while. It was a test project. I'm talking to Westfields because they know on the retail side, shopping centres are losing footfall, I should say. Footfall. Plain words. Footfall.
That's something again,
because
of footfall.
Yeah. Amazon is the enemy of retailers.
Yeah.
And Westfields realise it's not about more dresses and more shoes. They need to create experiences. And whether it be eating precincts, whether it be movie precincts, and I'm talking with them in Australia, again, being a global company, about they want to put in experiential things. And whether it be things you can't buy on Amazon, you can't buy a haircut on Amazon, you can't buy pedicure, manicure, you can't buy a massage, you can't buy activity, you can't buy community, you can't buy, tribes. There's so much. So they realise that they need to attract people to their centres for things other than more shoes and more dresses, because people are deserting retail for, and it just keeps growing. Yeah. I don't think it's going to turn around in a hurry.
No.
So anyway, there's a whole lot of, so we have Club W, we've got the content, which is our Move brand and our Mind brand, and we've been making content now for 2.5 years. I also went in a different tact, making what I call small bites. You look at Les Mills, a huge content provider, and it's all for the millennials, and it's primarily an hour. Now, they've shrunk it down to 45 minutes and 30. To me, the most we do is 30.
Yeah.
We do 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes.
Okay.
And we have 9 collections of content in our Move brand. We now have 6 collections broadly in our Mind brand. And we are now selling that through Wexer. I don't know if you're familiar with Wexer as a delivery platform. Mm-hmm. We're in quite a few thousand clubs around the world. But that's the companies like the medical companies. And we have the largest library, I think, in the world of content in those small bites. And now we've just launched, and nobody in the world is doing this, we've just launched our Silver brand, which is content for the over 70s, which goes into the aged care communities. Yeah. And you look at aged care, and all of these aged care communities are now looking at, okay, what do we put in for lifestyle and for wellness and for movement? They're being funded somewhat by the insurers, and they realise that, and insurers realise if we can keep people moving, we won't have as many claims. And governments, and this is another interesting piece of information, just this past week in the US, there's a bill that was passed the lower house called the FIT bill, and it's spelled P-H-I-T. Okay. It's been pushed around for 10 years. This past week it passed. Now, it passed by a huge bipartisan majority, and really the government is now underpinning the insurers to pay for true preventive health care, which is health clubs, wellness centres. And in Australia, people are penalised if a corporation wants to buy a membership for their staff, they have to pay fringe benefits tax. So they get penalised for trying to keep their staff fit if they want to subsidise them going to a health club or to a wellness centre or to a fit, whatever it might be, or to a Club W. So there's a lot of interesting, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. And then on top of that, we've launched a third company called Wellness Solutions, because there are now products and services, like I've invested in the world's first ever personal meditation pod called a Somadome. Okay. There's another product called an O2 chair, which is a breathing chair, which teaches people how to breathe properly. That's out of France, and I've got the rights for that in Australia, and I'm going to be investing in that soon. Even infrared saunas, hydro massage beds, there's all these different, got out to the extremes, got sleeping pods, flotation tanks, this cryotherapy, some of it's what do you call those oxygen chambers? Anyway, there's certainly, there's another sort of kind of, that's another one again. So, as everyone's trying to figure out how will wellness, well, firstly, what is wellness? Everyone's trying to figure that out. It's kind of like saying, what is food? But it's 1,000 different things, and so is wellness. And we are developing programs, products, concepts, services, and we can go to, whether it be Westfield, whether it be an aged care home, whether it be a hotel. We're in some deep conversations with Accor, who are the second largest hotel group in the world after the Marriott.
Yeah. And
they're all looking at how do we attract more of the female travellers, because, you know, and they love to have stuff either in their room or a small virtual room downstairs, because having a yoga instructor or Pilates or whatever 5 times a day is very expensive. So they'll put in little classes, but they miss, you know, for 90% of the people, the time's not right.
Yeah.
So if you can have something that's continuous, which is what our virtual rooms are under Club W, or little miniature versions of that, then you can offer. And we have the best experts in the world, and it's on big screens like an IMAX screen. So then it's lifelike, it's great instruction in a great, cozy, comfortable room. And people, once they do it a couple of times, it's like, wow, this is really good, and they start to prefer it over a live instructor. Or people who've never had a live instructor, like, you know, I use my sister as an example. She's 63. She'd never been in a health club in her life. And my first Club W happens to be up 5-10 minutes from where she lives, and now she's in there, and she said for her it's all about living longer, moving, and being in an environment with other women where it's comfortable, not intimidating, you know, and she just feels good. Yeah. So anyway, so there's a lot of, I'm giving you a lot of stuff there in 10 minutes.
That was 20 minutes. You kept going for 20 minutes.
Was it 20?
That was 20 minutes.
So yeah,
you'd have been buzzed off the stage at GWS by now, Tony. So
yeah, no, look, I kind of downloaded in 20 minutes the various streams we're doing. So I should allow you to ask me some questions right now.
That's fine. Obviously, you've given me a lot there, and there's already plenty, but. Just a couple of questions additional.
Yes.
You mentioned before we started the interview that you'd obviously moved from fitness into wellness. Can you just explain your decision behind that? Was it a case of spotting niches in the market, or how did it work for you?
Well, both. It's the wellness revolution, or evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it, is happening in every vertical market. Most of them already have fitness. Hotels have fitness. You know, a lot of corporates have little fitness rooms. A lot of aged care homes have basic fitness treadmills. But they realise that you're essentially just renting equipment. And people want more than that. You know, it's gotten deeper. So yes, we've identified you read about it everywhere. You know, wellness has popped up on the radar in all kinds of places.
Yeah.
So, but they can't figure out what it is and how do we deliver it. So we've identified lots of things that we think are very appropriate. So that's the one reason. And the other one is, the existing space I'm in is way too competitive. Okay. You know, in the days of Fitness First in the early 2000s, we were the all-conquering giant. Yeah. And now, look at your backyard, the UK. Yeah. I mean, it's created an industry where it's gone from 1 or 2% of people being involved in fitness to now it's 15% of the population. But it still primarily appeals to the younger generation. So young people today, it's not if you exercise, it's where do you exercise, you know. So they're used to it. It becomes part of their life. Well, not all of them, but for huge numbers, it's part of their life. Our generation, my generation, we didn't have that. But we're aging, and we're looking at, you know, a shorter fuse of time, and we're looking at, are we going to be on, you know, my sister and brother again, both younger than me, they've had stents in their hearts, they've had bouts of, you know, back issues, you know, and I fortunately touch wood, as I'm touching wood, because I've been active and drink very, you know, fine red wine, which is actually very beneficial and could be considered a wellness product. I've been able to, I guess, dodge the bullet or whatever. So, you know, my personal goal is, you know, I want to die young, late in life. And I want to keep moving and, you know, go to sleep. And I've got a very beautiful and wonderful, caring wife who's quite a bit younger than me, and I don't want her being lonely on her own for too long after I'm gone. So I tend to keep on keeping on, but I also want to keep moving. I don't want her, you know, pushing me around in a wheelchair, or God forbid,